Putting your headphones in. Oh, you're not going with headphones? Okay. LDNRBS, we are back with another guest. A special guest. Let me say special twice. Special guest. Adam Pugh. Let's give him a clap, guys. Hey.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Where do we start from here, man? Where do we start? First off, I want you to say who you are to anyone that doesn't know.
Yeah, if you don't know who I am, you can listen to the previous interview that we did just over a year ago now, right? This is where we began.
Yeah.
But my name is Adam Pugh, and I am an ex-police officer. I've now left the police. Bit of activism, I'm an activist, and that's a little bit about who I am. But yeah.
Nice. So, okay, this is. I feel like today we're gonna get into a whole lot. So I'm almost bracing myself to building it up to, for sure. I feel like this should be the secondary because where we are, in my opinion, influences the world. But I feel like this is the secondary, so I feel like we're gonna start off with this. Talking about I'll just switch it up. Even 2 seconds. Yourself and being in the police. Tell us how that started. Why you wanted to be in the police and everything.
Why did I want to join the police? You know what? I think I joined the police because from a young age I wanted to make a difference, and I felt like if you want to make a difference, you need to be the difference. For me, that I saw that as a career that I was going to be able to go into, to spend my whole life in, and to be able to really have a meaningful impact in my community in a positive way. And that was really what inspired me to join. Growing up in South London, I had a lot of negative experiences with the police, both indirectly and directly. And the idea of me being a police officer, if you just said that to me at 15, 16, I'd have laughed. I'd have thought you were mad. But when I turned 19, 20, for me, I saw that as a positive avenue to be able to make a difference. And that was what motivated me to join, was because I saw there's this thing that is bad, that is serving us, you know what I mean, that needs improving, and that was what I wanted to do.
Do you feel like you made a difference while you were there?
Yeah, I feel like I made a difference while I was there in terms of people, in terms of being able to reach people, not so much in my community but colleagues, do you know what I'm saying, and have an impact in their attitudes and their beliefs. But I definitely felt like I was limited in my reach, limited in the impact that I was able to have, and equally I wanted to make a difference in my community as much as I wanted to make a difference in the police.
Why do you feel you were limited?
I felt like I was limited because in terms of who I am, if you know me, if you've been following me, I'm a person that I stand by my convictions and what I believe in. And if you're going to be a person, like when you're in the police, you're not paid to think, you're paid to do. You're paid to do what you're told to do. And if you're going to be someone that thinks, if you're going to be someone that challenges authority, if you're going to stand by your convictions, then that can be a really difficult environment to work in. Do you know what I'm saying? I feel like I was limited because the changes that I wanted to make, because of the issues that I saw, that wasn't welcome, because they don't acknowledge that problem exists. If we're talking about the issue of racism particularly, you can't change it because they don't even acknowledge that problem exists in the first place. Do you know what I'm saying? So for me, I just decided that I was going to be better placed to make that change from outside and from within.
Did you find that there was racism within the police?
Definitely.
I mean, in the training centres, with other colleagues, with one another, did you see or witness any of these problems?
Definitely. I mean, the Metropolitan Police is institutionally racist. And when I say that, I'm not talking about instances where, you know what I mean, you might get someone calling someone a slur or whatever the case may be, but I'm talking about this really subtle kind of racism that exists in a structural sense. Do you know what I'm saying? In terms of the prejudices that they have towards certain groups, whether that's races, whether it's cultures, whether it's even the way people dress. There's this prejudice that exists that really stems from that issue of race. So yeah, I definitely witnessed that. I mean, I remember even in my training, I remember one of my training instructors. I can't remember what subject he was teaching us, but he flat out said to us that, you know what, if I arrive at a call and there's a bunch of young guys and they're all there with their hoods up and whatever, they're getting searched. And for me, coming from where I come from, you know what I mean, I'll wear my hood up. It doesn't mean anything. But it made a couple of us really kind of stop and be like, right, did he actually just say that? But yeah.
How do you feel just playing
it's always
devil's advocate? It is, and you know already.
Every week, devil's advocate.
Definitely. But I wanted to ask, when it comes to that kind of situation now, and you see a trainer coming out and saying, okay, well, if I arrive to a call and they've got all hoods up and they're in a group of them, in society, do you see that as, although it's just clothing, but do you see that symbolism as threatening? So has he got a point?
Do I see it as threatening?
Yeah.
I don't see it as threatening, but then I come from that environment, I come from that world. I can understand why, if you're not from that world, if you're not from that environment, if you're not used to that, I can understand how that's intimidating to you. But then that's a barrier that we need to break down. That's a conversation that we need to have.
Do you think he was willing to have that conversation?
He wasn't. He in particular wasn't, and there are some people that are, and we can have that conversation. But in order for you to tackle that issue, you've got to begin to break down the root of that problem. Why do we have that perception of young people or people that wear hoods? Why do we have that perception? Let's talk about it, because we do have it. We all have biases, all of us.
And also with the force, I would say in the past, I know you talked about restrictions. Is there any specific moments where you felt like, no, I was told you're not doing this. No, you can't think.
You know what? Apart from that instance in training, I remember one of my first instances out on the street when I was still kind of being trained and being shadowed with another officer. And I remember being called to a call, group of young kids vandalising a park bench, supposedly. We get there and the sergeant told me, go and search this guy. And I said, no, I'm not searching him. As far as I'm concerned, there's no grounds. And it wasn't any grounds. And I said to him, if you want to search him, be my guest. But I'm the one that has to justify that. I'm the one that has to stand up in court and give my reasons for why I've done that. As far as I'm concerned, there are no grounds. I'm not doing it. But because a sergeant had told me to do that, and I said no, he wasn't happy with that. So I learned very early on that if you're going to say no, if you're going to challenge authority, then life's going to be a bit difficult and you're not really going to be able to progress or get to where you want to get to. And that's fine. That's not why I was there. I was never there to be popular. I was never there to make friends. But I learned very quickly. And then the Mark Duggan incident. I joined in at the beginning of 2011. Mark Duggan in August of that year. Mark Duggan was murdered by the police. And that for me, that was the eye-opening point. That was when I started to really see it and be like, right, okay, cool. And I can see what is
There's a lot of different theories of what actually happened. But what do you believe happened?
Yeah, because you did say about murder.
Let's call it what it is. I mean, what do you want to know? What you getting at?
I just wanted to know what your theory was behind it. Whether it was what they said it was, or
you know what? It's very difficult for me to say, not having been involved and not having been there. The only people that know are those people there. But what I do know is that the official police story is not accurate. We've already had that disproven. We've already seen the countless errors in that. And regardless of what happened, we know for a fact, do you know what I mean, that he didn't fire a gun at police, he didn't point a gun at the police. And whether or not he had a gun is another situation, but having a firearm or being a gangster, whatever this man is accused of doing and beating, there is no death penalty in this country. You know what I'm saying? The penalty for that is not death. And as far as I'm concerned, he was murdered.
And how do you feel about, I watched this with my whole family too, and we definitely felt passionate about it. How did you feel about the recent documentary that was put out on BBC One about Mark Duggan?
They asked me to be in it, and I turned them down. How did I feel about it? It made me angry. I don't know what purpose that really served, other than to evoke negative emotions within people. I don't feel like we really learned anything new from that we didn't know before. Other than the whole issue surrounding the taxi driver, you know what I mean, and really kind of getting for people to understand the situation with that taxi driver for the first time. But for me, I was pleased that Stafford Scott was in it, because that's a good guy, you know what I'm saying, and his voice is needed. But other than that, for me, it was.
Do you even feel like some of the eyewitness accounts in the documentary too? Do you, being from the force, or
so you know that most of them were actors, right? So they're not.
Yeah. So in the actual, because you were of the force, do you think they were capable, the police officers or anyone behind this, of getting those witnesses to say what they've said? Or, because I guess they were actors, but they were coming from the words of the people. Do you feel like that was fabricated in any kind of sense? Do you think that could have happened?
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, the taxi driver was told, supposedly, you know what I mean, look away, don't look or I'll shoot you. Do you know what I'm saying? So there was definitely an intimidation tactic there. How much of that, you know what I mean, that would be me speculating, but yeah, it's always a possibility.
So now that you've left the police, what are you doing now? What do you stand for now?
What do I stand for now? The same things I stood for when I was in. I stand for justice, I stand against injustice, I stand against racism. I've been using my platform really to just speak out about my experience within the police, speak about racism within the police, and to try and make a meaningful change in whatever way I can with that regard. So for the last year, I mean, we've been doing a lot of interviews, we've been telling the story, we've done a couple of documentaries, a documentary coming out, 1500 and counting, which is to do with the 1500 deaths either in custody or following police contact, and there's 0 convictions of police officers, because there's not one that's ever been convicted. The Black Lives Matter documentary, that's another one that Damien produced. He had Damien Swaby in the building not long ago. Big up Damien. So yeah, we've been just trying to get the message out, and hopefully that'll be a continuation in 2017.
Also, I wanted to say too, with everything that you do, and I just wanted to ask a genuine question. How do you feel about the backlash? Because I only have to look in the timeline, I have to look on Instagram to see the backlash you receive for what you say, and I wouldn't say the way you say it, but I guess to them the way you say it. How do you feel genuinely about those people that clearly just want to attack anything you talk about?
You know, most of the time the backlash and what people say doesn't bother me, it doesn't affect me most of the time. Do you know what I mean? There are times where it can become overwhelming and I might kind of withdraw and just take some time for self-care to look after myself. But I have my son was born this year, and definitely since my son has been born, I've been more mindful, because obviously I take my family's security very seriously. And I'm out here, I'm about, so most of my movements you can see on Twitter. I'm at this event, I'm at that event. So if people want to come find me, they can come find me, do you know what I'm saying? And that's fine, but make sure you're waving that white flag, innit? Because if I'm there with my son and my girl and you're rolling up on me, you know what I'm saying, it's going to be a problem. So yeah, it concerns me at times, but it is what it is. That's what comes along with it. And when you're going to speak out and you're going to take a stand against these things, there's going to be people, there's going to be backlash, and that's fine. Like I said, I'm not here to be popular. I'm not.
Interesting. And even saying that to say this, something that you said that which I guess to the masses would be unpopular, but there's another thing I saw you got backlash for is about a week ago now, when everyone, the whole nation, this nation, America, everyone was talking about Obama leaving. I did see, you know what, what's your opinion on Obama?
What's my opinion on Obama? You know what, Obama is, I'm sure, a very nice guy, he's a likeable guy, he's got a lot of charisma, he's got a lot of charm, but it's the same thing in this country here between the Conservatives and the left and the right, is the two wings of the same bird. I mean, having Obama leave and Trump in really is no difference. For me, Obama was just that's
strong. That's strong.
For me, Obama was the you know what I mean, the black face of white supremacy. And when you look at what happened while he was in, I mean, I'm not a fan of Obama. I mean, it's easier to like him. I like him as a person, but in terms of his policy, in terms of the bombs that he's dropped, you know what I mean. For me, it's a travesty.
I get what you're saying. I do get what you're saying. But then, the statement that you just made in terms of, is it that different with Trump and Obama? I'm not sure if we can say that.
Every president, I think, that's come in, there's always been some sort of war or something that's happened.
Yeah, I get that.
But he's the only president that was in war every single day for the whole 8 years of his term. And when you look at the amount of bombs that have been dropped under Obama compared to everyone else, when you look at the drones, when you look at the fact that, okay, so he was elected, we've now got our first black president, and that's fantastic. But what happened? Because we've still got dirty water in Flint. Do you know what I'm saying? There's still these massive injustices, and he's not been there. He's not addressed these issues. Black people are still dying at a ridiculous rate at the hands of the police in America under a black president, and he's done nothing.
Interesting. It's an interesting point. It's also a deferring point to what's so we spent so long praising him for the last week, and you've got a few people that have come out and said this. And also, we touched on a little bit, but someone that is in the news constantly right now, I think I've seen someone be seen as much as this. But Donald Trump, what is your opinion on this human? Because I have seen your tweets and your Instas this morning, but yeah, I'll let you take it.
No, I can't swear. My opinion on Trump, what opinion is there to have? You know what I mean? The guy really is a reflection of where we're at in society. Do you know what I'm saying? Trump is not the issue. Trump is a reflection of, you know what I mean, of an attitude that has been building up and brewing under the surface for a minute now. And it's the same thing here in the UK. We've had our Brexit. You know what I mean? We've seen the rise of UKIP. We've seen the rise of EDL. So I don't like Trump. I think it's very clear that I don't like Trump. But for me, really, he's just the, you know what I mean? He's just the face of the problem, as it were. But yeah, we've got bigger fish to fry.
Definitely. And it's interesting you said that too, because I would love to go back to the UK and talk about the fact. Okay, I'm gonna give you a name, and I'm gonna see what your reaction to the name is. Theresa May. What's your opinion?
What's my opinion on Theresa May? She's spineless. You know, we've seen her this week holding hands with Donald. I mean, what was that about? Holding hands with Donald Trump? I'm confused. What was?
Confused me too.
But then today we've got the government supposedly condemning this Muslim ban that Trump has just endorsed. So they really can't make up their mind. And the fact that she wasn't, you know what I mean, she wasn't even elected. This woman has got to be Prime Minister. She's not been put there by the people. She's not our Prime Minister. We never voted for her.
Do you think she would have been elected?
Do I think she would have been? Well, you know what? Yeah, possibly. Possibly, given the current state of current affairs and the political climate in the UK, quite possibly, just because she was the Conservative Party member. But who knows? Who knows?
Also, I wanted to say, what do you think the state of this country is right now, with things like Brexit winning, with Theresa May clearly in control of this country at the moment, and Trump is obviously going to make an influence on the UK too? What kind of state do you reckon this country is in the mentality is right now?
You know what?
How can it be changed as well, if there can be?
You know what? I feel like for all of the negativity and all of the hate and that we're kind of experiencing right now, I do feel that we are in a kind of an encouraging place, in the sense that these issues that we're being faced with and these attitudes that we're now seeing, this is not a new thing. This is a throwback to the 60s and the 70s. This is not, it hasn't gone away. So it's not that it's getting worse, or it's not that this is a new issue, but it's just coming back to the surface. And I think that now what you're starting to see is you're starting to see people rise up. So, you know what I mean, there's this quote that I found the other day that said, cultures of oppression will breed cultures of resistance. And you're beginning to see that now. You're seeing young people, you're seeing our generation rising up and taking a stand and saying, actually, no, we're not going to stand for this, we're not going to tolerate this, we're going to do something about it. And that's down to us as to how we do that and how we carry that forward, and whether we just let that fall apart. But we're in a healthy place, even if it might not feel like it. Obviously the political climate isn't healthy, but we need to feel this discomfort, we need to feel this rage within us, to really stir us up to make a change, because we're the people with the power.
Definitely. I know there's a march, and I saw you advertise it before, but I wanted to date it back to this summer. I know that you went to the Black Lives Matter marches too. Tell me about the energy of those times and how you felt during those times.
Yeah, the Black Lives Matter marches in particular were really encouraging, and the energy was good. It did kind of feel like that the whole momentum of that really just dropped off. And I was greatly discouraged. I was at the Women's March 2 weeks ago, after Trump was elected, after the inauguration, and we had 100,000 people, predominantly white women, all out here protesting against racism. And I thought, wow, okay, great. White people are finally starting to pay attention and take a stand against racism. But where were you at the Black Lives Matter protest? Where were you at the United Family and Friends campaign march down the street? Where were you when Duggan was killed, Jermaine Baker, when all of these deaths have happened? You weren't here. So I wonder how genuine people's concerns really are. I hope that it is genuine and that will continue. But yeah, I'm encouraged, and I feel like the state of things now is so bad that people you can't turn a blind eye to it. You know what I mean? It's in your face. You can't turn on the TV without seeing Trump has said something ridiculous about someone. So yeah, I'm encouraged.
Definitely. Now, also, I wanted to say, with yourself and with where you're headed to, what do you plan to do for yourself? What do you want to do for Adam Pugh, and what do you want to?
I don't want to do anything for me. None of this is about me. This is about making a difference for me. I'm passionate about issues of race, and I speak to my white peers to say, you know what, we need to acknowledge that we have this issue, there is this problem. Let's address it. Let's sit down at the table and have a conversation about it and deal with it. And that's really my goal and my hope, is to continue to have those conversations in a healthy way. And see where we can go from there. But this year, what I really want to do, last year we spent a lot of time having these interviews and talking, and that's wonderful. But I am getting a bit sick of the sound of my own voice. But it would be really nice to partner with other organisations, with other people, so that we can really be effective in working together. If the issue is youth not being educated and not understanding certain things, then you know what, let me or someone else that can team up with a student union, or do you know what I mean, someone else that we can really use each other in a meaningful way. So that's what I want to be more effective in doing in 2017.
So if anyone wants to partner up with you and get involved with the whole movement and everything that you're doing, what's your socials? Or
I'm Adam Pugh on everything. That's ADAMPUGH. So you can get me on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, whatever. Don't holler at me on Facebook, that's for family. But yeah, I'm about.
Alright. Nice. Adam,
yes.
anything also that you wanted to... Actually, no. Let's talk about people on Twitter.
Let's talk about the trolls.
There's many people on Twitter that come for you. So many. Now, I've also seen some important figures, i.e. David Tammy, if I say it.
David Lammy.
Lammy.
You can call him Tammy.
Oh, we call him Tammy.
He's he is a Tammy at the end of the day, isn't it?
Now,
we got Tammy.
He blocked you. I've seen a lot of people blocked you. Tell us your opinions. Let's start off with David Lammy.
David Lammy. I mean, you know what? At the end of the day, there's a video of him being asked on YouTube. You can look it up, where he was asked, "What are you going to do for the Duggan family in response to this inquest?" And he turned around and ran. All I did was I tweeted him and I said, "David, as our MP, what do you intend to do for the Duggan family?" Man blocked me. Didn't even reply. It wasn't like I abused him, didn't say nothing, didn't troll him, but man blocked me. If we can't petition our own MPs, our elected representatives, to say, "What's the deal? What are you going to do for us?" then I don't know what you're there for. So that's my view on him. With regards to everyone else on Twitter, whatever.
Also, I wanted to say, how do you respond to the people on Twitter that one thing I've seen more than once added at you was, I'm disliking hearing a white man talking
like a Jamaican gangster. That was
you took it. So yeah. How do you respond to the people saying this?
They've obviously never heard of Jamaican gangster, but you know what? If you
for sure.
At the end of the day, if you're gonna judge my intellect based on my use of language, I talk like this because we're in a relaxed environment. I mean, this is not my voice all of the time. I can turn it on and switch it off. At the end of the day, if you're gonna base my intellect based on my use of language, then more for you. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, you're severely underestimating me. But at the end of the day, language is something that is largely based on your geographical location, the culture that you're brought up in. All of that shapes your language. It's nothing to do with colour. So the idea that you talk like a white man or I talk like a black man, for me that's foolishness, and it's just an attempt to discredit me and to take away from the argument. Okay, cool. I take it. I talk like a Jamaican gangster. Fine. But let's talk about the issue. Back to the issue. Let's deal with this. Because you lot all want to steer it away and discredit my character, but let's really deal with the problem.
And not deflect. Nice. Also, I wanted to talk about Trump. You talked about Trump already, but I wanted to say, with Trump and this Muslim ban that just come in, how do you feel about it?
You know what? It's really upsetting. It's really upsetting. And like you said, there's a march today, right now, 6 till 8 at Downing Street. So if you can get down to that, please do. And there's another one on Saturday. And we need to really take a stand for all of those that are being oppressed, including our Muslim brothers and sisters. So I stand with them, and I'm sorry that I couldn't be there today. I'm with you guys in spirit. But yeah, I'm really upset about that, and I think we really need to stop seeing people as the other. I mean, that's what this is all about. It's about separating people. It's about being divisive, and yeah, I'm not down for that.
Nice. Well, That was part 2
Part
of
two.
the Adam Pugh interview. Let's give him a clap out here. For sure.